This is Rachel Morin, an active mother of 5 from Maryland. One afternoon, she went for a jog on a busy trail and never came back. She had promised her family she'd be home before dinner, but when she didn't return, they knew something was wrong. She was reported missing that night. Rachel's lifeless body was discovered in a drainage tunnel along the trail. She was the victim of a violent homicide. Evidence found at the scene linked the killer to another crime he committed thousands of miles away.
The biggest break in the case came from DNA evidence collected from the crime scene. This evidence took investigators to Los Angeles, where the matching DNA had been collected at the scene of an earlier home invasion and assault. This was the first time we got a glimpse of the man responsible for Rachel's death in the video and the photograph that we released of the suspect from the video.
But despite this information, it took almost a year to track him down. With the arrest, the chilling details that came out shocked and angered everyone. This is Rachel Morin's case. Welcome to the small town of Bel Air, Maryland. Located in Harford County, the town has a population of around 11,000 residents and is located 32 miles from Baltimore City. It was named the best suburb to live in 2024, therefore the town has a very low crime rate, especially compared to its more dangerous neighbor, Baltimore City. The community is not used to violent homicides. This heinous crime occurred on a mom-and-pop trail, which is a loved place for residents and left a mark of sadness around the community, especially because such a tragedy happened in such a peaceful place.
We just received a call from a Cecilia who's advising that she has located the missing subject on the mom-and-pop. Caller is standing by at that location.
1350 dispatch on the route for mom-and-pop trail.
10-4. Reference to mom-and-pop. Caller's advising that the victim appears to have sustained a head injury. They have been instructed not to touch anything. She's inside the tunnel as soon as you walk in.
Rachel Morin was born on May 20th, 1986, and grew up in this area. As a mother of 5 children aged 8 to 18, Rachel balanced her family life with running a cleaning business. This allowed flexibility in her schedule to be present for her children when they needed her. Growing up in a large family herself, Rachel was the middle child among 8 siblings. She was described as hardworking, positive, a good mother with a great sense of humor and always in a good mood. She was physically active and could always be found either at the gym, jogging, or hiking. Rachel appeared to have it all: a loving family, beauty, and a successful career. In the weeks leading up to her tragic death, Rachel found new romance with Richard Tobin. Their shared passion for fitness deepened their connection, and their relationship became official just 5 days before she disappeared. On August 1st, 2023, the boyfriend updated his Facebook status to "in a relationship with Rachel Morin." But just as her new love started to grow, it was stolen from her by a monster. One place Rachel loved was the mom-and-pop trail. Growing up just a short distance away, she had been a regular visitor since childhood. The trail was basically her home, and she felt a strong sense of safety on it. The mom-and-pop trail is an icon for this small town. Located near the center of town, it's surrounded by nice neighborhoods. It really isn't isolated. In fact, it's a busy place where people walk their dogs, jog, and enjoy some peace and quiet away from the city noise. On August 5th, 2023, around 6 p.m., Rachel went for a quick jog on this trail before returning home to make dinner for her family. And she vanished. She was known to never leave her kids for very long. And as the night started to fall, Rachel was nowhere to be found. Her boyfriend, Richard Tobin, reported her missing at 11:30 p.m. that night. The search started immediately. Tobin told the investigators all the details about her whereabouts from the night before and where she parked her car. Police discovered her car was still at the trailhead, indicating she never left the area. The following morning, on Sunday, August 6, 2023, a search party was organized. One of the participants was Michael Gabrzeski and his stepdaughter, who knew Rachel. Around 1 p.m. that day, a woman's body was discovered in one of the drainage tunnels by Michael's stepdaughter. It was later confirmed to be Rachel Morin. Sadly, it was a gruesome crime scene, and the discovery traumatized her deeply. Listen to what he had to say about this gruesome discovery in a media interview.
Brutal and gruesome is how Michael Gabrzeski describes what he and his stepdaughter say they uncovered. Today, he took us to the Ma and Pa Trail to show us exactly where he says he uncovered Morin's body. It wasn't far from the William Street entrance here. I'd estimate only about a quarter mile in. And before we share what he says he saw, we do want to warn viewers the details are graphic and what you're about to hear might be disturbing.
I had never walked it myself.
For Michael Gabrzeski,
I told my stepdaughter, I said, look, it's not going to be laying out in the open.
the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air, uncharted territory.
I said, she's going to be tucked away somewhere.
But the former National Park search and rescue officer has extensive experience tracking down missing people.
So basically, it's my passion to bring closure to that family by bringing her back and not having them wonder what happened.
Gabrzeski and his stepdaughter taking off on a search rooted on instinct.
I just kept seeing tunnels in my mind. I don't know why, but I just kept seeing tunnels.
Despite law enforcement swarming the area for almost a full day, Gabrzeski's stepdaughter locating the body in about an hour. The deadly discovery.
Once we got down there and I started seeing them tunnels, I started getting goosebumps.
Made in a tunnel drain not far from the trail's main entrance.
I saw a terrible mess.
Gabrzeski's visions meeting the reality of a gruesome scene.
There's not going to be an open casket, I can guarantee you that.
He says Morin's body found in a pool of blood, suffering severe head trauma, an injury he believes could be the result of a rock.
My daughter said that there was a big rock down there that was all caked in blood.
The Ma and Pa Trail has several tunnels around, some of which pass beneath the highway, and 2 are drainage tunnels. Now, the drainage tunnels are partially hidden from the direct view of the trail, and during the summer months, the trees and vegetation do a good job of concealing them entirely. Some people who use the trail don't even know that these tunnels exist. Additionally, a highway above the tunnels muffles any noise coming from that direction. Rachel was attacked while on her jog, but exact details on how it happened remain unclear. We know she was dragged 15 to 20 feet inside the tunnel, as the trail of blood was visible leading towards that direction. The case gained national attention right away and resonated deeply with the public, the community, and outdoor lovers like myself. The community organized a candlelight vigil and a memorial walk for Rachel. The trail was filled with pictures of her and beautiful flowers on almost every tree. Hundreds of attendees attended the walk, highlighting the deep connection and pride this community has in their town. Despite the tragic event, their spirits remain high and optimistic that the monster who disrupted their peace will be found.
Rachel loved people. She loved people, and it's evident by all the people that have known her or in some way have been touched by her life. And so I'm very grateful for all these people that have come here. And there's a lot of people that have reached out to us because they have grieved for Rachel.
Investigators increased security and began patrolling the trail with ATVs, aiming to keep the residents safe and watch for any suspicious behavior. Also, CCTV cameras were installed to prevent this from ever happening again. People began taking safety measures, such as either stopping their walks, choosing to walk in groups, bringing dogs, or carrying self-defense items.
We have no solid suspect. We can't say, I said again this last night, we cannot stand in front of the community and say, that there's not a random person out there who committed this act who still poses a threat to the community.
In the absence of a suspect, speculation is running high here in the community over whether the woman's murder was random or whether she was targeted.
On the internet, however, Rachel's new boyfriend, Richard Tobin, quickly became the prime suspect. People speculated about his involvement and made him the #1 target online. Although investigators never named him as a suspect, they didn't clear him of any wrongdoing either. In an effort to defend himself and maintain his innocence, Tobin posted on Facebook and said, quote, "I love Rachel. I will never do anything to her. Let the family and I grieve. Yes, I have a past, but I also have 15 months clean and have changed as a person. Please." Tobin seems sincere and distraught about the situation. However, his past trouble with the law came back to haunt him. Fortunately for him, the accusation stopped when investigators revealed crucial information about the killer on August 17, 11 days after Rachel's body was found.
The County Sheriff's Office has been working around the clock to get justice for Rachel Morin and hopefully bring peace to her family. Since that first day, over 300 community tips have flooded our inboxes and emails. Her death has grabbed local, state, national, and international headlines, everyone with the same goal: find the killer and bring justice to Rachel. DNA evidence is part of nearly every modern-day investigation, and in Rachel's case, DNA evidence was collected by our Forensic Services Unit. That DNA was analyzed by the Maryland State Police, and it was ran through the National CODIS system. This DNA evidence has come back as a match, tied to a home invasion and an assault of a young girl in Los Angeles this past March. Unfortunately, that suspect has not been positively identified, but he did leave behind his DNA. Based on the DNA evidence, we consider the individual in the video we obtained from the Los Angeles Police Department and that we are about to show you on our TV screens to be the person that murdered Rachel Morin on August 5th. So we're now going to show the video. And just so everyone's aware, this video, after this press conference, this video will be posted on our social media. All right, you want to play it one more time? Based on our analysis of this video and witness observations, we believe the suspect to be approximately 5'9", 160 pounds, and of Hispanic descent. If you have any information about this suspect, we are asking you to please call our detectives at our tip line.
The Los Angeles house invasion we just learned about from March 2023 was an assault of a 9-year-old child and her mother. The suspect left his hat behind, allowing LA police to extract his DNA and enter it into CODIS. CODIS is the Combined DNA Index System. It is a national database used by authorities to store and match DNA profiles from all criminals. Harford County also collected DNA from the crime scene, which matched the DNA from the LA house invasion, linking the two cases together. The investigators confirmed that Rachel's murder was a crime of opportunity, and no prior connection was found between Rachel and her killer. The attacker had waited hidden on that trail, like the coward that he is, until the chance to strike came up, and Rachel happened to be the unfortunate victim. It could have easily been any other woman out for a walk, which is the scary part. Rachel did nothing wrong but go for a jog and was brutally murdered. She was a petite girl, but she was in great shape and strong. She must have fought really, really, really hard, which may be the reason why the killer did what he did to silence her and whatever he could find on hand, and that was a rock. Morin's family stayed hopeful now that they had a suspect identified. They knew who he is, they just needed a name and where the heck he was. Sadly, even with his DNA, finding him was like searching for a needle in a haystack. The video we have of him provided a partial profile, but with him looking like any other young Hispanic male from behind, It didn't offer much to go on. The local Hispanic community was helpful, and the suspect image was shown on many news outlets and shared by true crime enthusiasts. Yet, no one came forward with any useful information. He remained unrecognized by anyone, almost as if he was a ghost. We know he was in California just a few months prior to committing this murder, being busy assaulting minors and their moms, so he seemed to be a transient of some sort and move from place to place. A reward was offered and later on increased to $35,000 for any valuable information. There was fear that the suspect would flee the country, making his capture even more challenging. Also, there was a lot of suspicion on people's minds that these two crimes were not the only ones that he committed.
Last week, I told the news reporters that the suspect could be a serial killer. What do I mean? With all we do know about these two crimes, the one in Los Angeles and the one here, my concern is that this killer is escalating. My investigators and I both firmly believe that if we do not apprehend this individual, he will kill again if he has not done so already. And if given the chance, he certainly could become a serial killer. Until he is in custody, this suspect poses a threat to every community in our country and maybe outside.
Rachel's brother, Michael Morin, and her ex-husband, Matt, who is the father of her oldest child, were very active keeping the case in a public eye.
Loved ones of Rachel Morin are on a mission: identify the 37-year-old's killer, bringing justice to her case. Her older brother, Michael, says it's also about preventing another family from feeling the same hurt.
All it takes is for someone to do the right thing and speak up.
On the 1-month mark of her murder, there is a boots-on-the-ground effort. Volunteers are canvassing areas near the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air where Rachel's body was found, handing out new flyers with information from a criminal profiler on potential suspect traits, aiming to dig up tips.
I decided to come out because she's somebody's daughter, and it could have very well been mine.
Sure, the traits and them being missing for that time, we feel that might be able to paint a better picture for whoever knows that person.
Then, on June 14, 2024, the good news that everyone had been waiting for. The suspect, Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, a 23-year-old undocumented immigrant from El Salvador, was arrested while conveniently enjoying a cold drink in a bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He better had enjoyed that drink because he won't have another one anytime soon. Sheriff Geller proudly announced Hernandez's arrest in a press conference, revealing that he faced charges of first-degree murder and a first-degree rape, and a bunch of other ones.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Christy said, I'm Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor. As everyone's aware, on August 6, 2023, our peaceful Harford County community was rocked when the body of Rachel Morin was discovered in an area just about a mile from here, just off the Ma and Pa hiking trail here just outside the town of Bel Air. In addition to the impact to our local Harford County community, Rachel's murder gained national and even international attention. The young mother of 5, whose life was violently taken in a public location, is one of the safest places in the state. It's not supposed to happen, and it shouldn't have happened. And on this day, I'm here to tell you, Rachel's murderer is no longer a free man. Hopefully, he will never have the opportunity to walk free again. The lead we received was related to DNA evidence and allowed investigators to finally put a name to the image of the suspect in the video from Los Angeles, which we released 2 weeks after Rachel's death. With the new DNA evidence, now we know who he is, but we still didn't know where he was. As I have stated many times, this killer could have been laying his head in any community in the country or even in the world, and indeed, that was completely accurate. Over the past 2 weeks, investigators continued their diligent investigation and tracked our suspect all the way from Prince George's County to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Police in Tulsa, Oklahoma, assisted by our federal partners, located and arrested Rachel's murderer, Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez. So far, we have learned that the suspect, now pictured on the screens, is a 23-year-old citizen of El Salvador who illegally crossed the border into the United States in February of 2023. We all suspected that perhaps Rachel was not his first victim, and it's my understanding that this suspect, this monster, fled to the United States illegally after committing the brutal murder of a young woman in El Salvador a month early in January of 2023. Once in our country, and likely emboldened by his anonymity, he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother during a home invasion in March of 2023 in Los Angeles. And as everyone I believe is aware, that was our first DNA match linking Rachel's case to the Los Angeles case. It has been a fear of mine that once we identified this suspect, the result would be exactly this. And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally. Let me repeat that. 1,800 miles from the southern border, and this is the second woman in our county to be killed by an illegal alien. Suspects, in both cases, they are suspects from El Salvador with ties to criminal gangs. Should not be happening. Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen.
It seemed that anywhere he went, he committed a crime. And not just any crime, but a brutal and barbaric kind of crime. Days after his arrest, Hernandez was extradited to Harford County to face these charges. His appearance had changed. He looked scrawnier and shorter in frame. His hair was long and no more shaved sides. He most likely knew he was wanted and changed his appearance on purpose so that he wouldn't be recognized. Obviously, he wasn't hiding. He was enjoying himself with a cold one in a bar. Hernandez is currently held without bail and is awaiting trial that was set for October 2024. Authorities are seeking the maximum penalty, which in Maryland is life in prison without the possibility of parole. His arrest and his past violent history highlighted concerns about U.S. border security and how Rachel's murder could have been avoided with stricter border control measures. Unfortunately, Rachel's case is part of a larger issue, as other crimes have been committed in similar ways by undocumented immigrants. Rachel's brother, Michael Morin, spoke out at the Republican National Convention on July 16, 2024. Rachel's first daughter is expecting a child and would have been Rachel's first grandchild, who will never have the chance to meet her grandmother.